Hello everyone. Today in English, we will focus on predicate parts, action verbs, and linking verbs. Last week, we learned about sentence parts. What are the two main parts of a sentence? They are the subject part and the predicate part. The subject part tells who or what the sentence is about, and the predicate part tells what the subject does or is. Then what's the subject in this sentence? The teacher reads Bible stories. The subject part tells who or what the sentence is about. This sentence is about the teacher. So the teacher is the subject part. Then what's the predicate part? The predicate part tells what the subject does or is. Then what does the sentence say about the subject? What is the subject doing or being? The subject, the teacher, reads the Bible stories. So reads the Bible stories is the predicate part. Then what about this sentence? The Bible is the Word of God. What's the subject in this sentence? The sentence is about the Bible, so the Bible is the subject of this sentence. Then what's the predicate part? The predicate part tells what the subject does or is. This sentence tells us the Bible is the Word of God. So it's telling us what the subject is. So this part is the predicate part. Today's lesson, we are going to focus on the predicate part. So the predicate part tells what the subject does or is. Like these two sentences. The top sentence is telling us what the subject does, and the second sentence is telling us what the subject is. How do we know that? We know that because of the main word in the predicate parts. What is the main word in the predicate part? The main word in the predicate part is a verb. The verb can be an action verb or a linking verb. An action verb tells what the subject does, and the linking verb tells what the subject is. If the main word in the predicate part is a verb, then what's the main word in this predicate part? The main word is the verb reads. Reads is an action verb because it is telling us what the subject, the teacher, is doing. Then what's the main word in the second sentence predicate part? The main word is the verb is. Is this an action verb or linking verb? It is linking verb. It is a linking verb because linking verbs tells what the subject is. Let's try a couple more. The little girl plays on the swing set. What's the predicate part in this sentence? It is plays on the swing set. Then what's the main word in this predicate part? Remember, the main word in the predicate part is the verb. So the main word is plays. The verb plays is the main word in this sentence. Then is the verb plays an action verb or linking verb? It is action verb. Her friends are happy to see her. What is the predicate part in this sentence? It is are happy to see her. Then what's the main word in this predicate part? The verb are. Then is this verb an action verb or linking verb? Linking verb, because it is telling us what the subject is being. Let's now go to our work text, page 281. Today, you're going to complete 4 pages of worksheets. Page 279 all the way to page 282. Let's try a couple together. Today, we reviewed that the predicate part tells what the subject part does or is. We also learned that an action verb can be the main word in the predicate part. So for example, the little girl plays on the swing set. The sentence is about the little girl, so little girl is the subject part. That means plays on the swing set is the predicate part. What's the main word in this predicate part? The main word is the verb plays. Is the verb plays an action verb or a linking verb? It is an action verb because it's telling us what the girl is doing. Numbers 1 through 4, you're going to match the subject part with the predicate part. Let's try them together. The Smiths do what? The Smiths likes to swing. That does not make sense because the Smiths mean more than one person, and when a verb has an S at the end, that means only one subject is doing the action. So let's move on. The Smiths bought a new swing set. That makes sense. Let's see if it makes sense with the other predicate parts. The Smiths barks at the swing. First of all, they're not dogs, so they're not going to bark. And second of all, this verb ends with an S. And remember, when a verb has an S at the end, that means only one subject is doing the action, so that's not it. Then what about the last predicate part? The Smiths swing high. That could also work, but the best answer would be bought a new swing set. Number 2, my baby brother does what? Likes to swing. That makes sense because my baby brother is one person and this verb has an S at the end telling us that there's only one subject doing the action. Then what about the other predicate parts? Barks at the swing. Again, my baby brother is not a dog, so the baby brother is not going to bark. My baby brothers swing high. The verb swing has no S at the end. That means more than one person is doing the action. So the best answer is likes to swing. Number 3, Jade and Matt barks at the swing. First of all, Jade and Matt, they are not dogs. Second of all, this verb has an S at the end. That means one subject is doing the action. Jade and Matt are more than one subject. So the best answer is Jade and Matt swing high. That means our dog barks at the swing. Very good. Let's move on to numbers 5 through 10. Circle the action verb. Draw a line between the subject part and the predicate part. The bird makes a nest in the tree. What is the action verb? The action verb in this sentence is makes. The verb makes tells us what the bird is doing. Then where should we draw the line to split between subject part and the predicate part? Well, we know that the sentence is about the bird, so that means the bird is the subject. And makes a nest in the tree is telling us what the subject is doing, so we need to draw the line right here. Subject, predicate. Number 6, she gathers sticks for the nest. What is the action verb in this sentence? It is gathers. The verb gathers tells us what the subject is doing. Then where should we draw the line to split between subject part and the predicate part? The sentence is about she, so she is the subject part. That means gather sticks for the nest is the predicate part. I want you to try the rest on your own. On the back page number 11, you're going to write a sentence about something you ate today. Circle the verb. Draw a line between the subject part and the predicate part. So you're going to write a sentence about something you ate, and then you're going to do the same thing that you did for number 5 through 10. You're going to circle the action verb and then draw a line between the subject part and the predicate part. Numbers 11 through 18 is exactly the same as the front page. Numbers 19 and 20, you're going to underline the possessive noun. Remember, possessive noun tells us who it belongs to, and it needs to have apostrophe S or just apostrophe. Let's move on to the next page. Predicate part, linking verbs. The predicate part tells what the subject part does or is. A linking verb can be the main word in the predicate part. We learned today that a linking verb tells us what a subject part is. And we're going to focus on these 4 linking verbs: is, are, was, and were. Was and were are the past tense for the verbs is and are. Let's look at the example. The book is blue. The sentence is about the book, so the book is the subject part. That means is blue is the predicate part. What is the main word in this predicate part? The main word is the verb is. Is this a linking verb or an action verb? It is linking verb. It tells us what the book is. Let's move on to numbers 1 through 4. Match the subject part with the predicate part. Number 1, the roses. So there are more than one rose. I want you to keep that in mind as you read the predicate part. The roses is hot. That does not make sense. First of all, roses do not become hot. And second of all, there are more than one rose, so is does not make sense. It should be are or were. The roses are fast. The verb matches because the verb are tells us that there are more than one subject. But what about the word fast? Roses are not fast. The roses were pink. That makes sense. The verb were tells us that there are more than one subject, and the roses were pink makes sense. Number 2, the gray mice is hot. That does not make sense. First of all, the gray mice. Mice tells us that there are more than one mouse. Mice is a plural noun for the word mouse. So is not going to work because is means there's only one subject. And also, mice cannot be hot. The mice are fast. That makes sense. The verb are tells us that there are more than one subject. And the mice can be fast. The gray mice are fast. Number 3, the beach sand is hot. That makes sense. The beach sand was afraid. That does not make sense. So that means the little puppy was afraid. That makes sense. Let's move on to the next part. Circle the linking verb. Draw a line between the subject part and the predicate part. A grasshopper is tiny. What is the linking verb in this sentence? The linking verb is is. Then where should we draw the line to split between the subject part and the predicate part? The sentence is telling us about a grasshopper, so a grasshopper is our subject. That means we draw the line right here. So is tiny is the predicate part. Number 6, the white cloud was fluffy. What is the linking verb? The linking verb is was. Then where should we draw the line to split between the subject part and the predicate part? The sentence is about the white cloud. That means the white cloud is the subject, so our predicate part is was fluffy. I want you to try the rest on your own. You can always go back to this chart and check your linking verbs. Number 9, you're going to choose a subject part, linking verb, and adjective to write a sentence. Draw a line between the subject part and the predicate part. So what you're going to do is you're going to write any sentence, but with a linking verb. So you have to write a sentence using linking verb, not action verb. And then you're going to draw a line between the subject part and predicate part, just like we did for numbers 5 through 8. The next page is much like the front page, but numbers 18 through 20, you're going to write the abbreviation for the underlined word. And you can look at the abbreviation chart attached to your email today. Well, that's the end of our lesson today. Bye, everyone!